Oh, hello. Hmm. So, this is Ethics Regarding Humans, Chapter 5. So, ethics and human participants, we'll just go over it real quick over the general ideas. So, we have the description of ethics, ethical guidelines, and psychological research, the idea of valid consent, fully informed consent, the right to withdraw, minimizing harm and maximizing benefit, lack of deception, confidentiality slash anonymity, privacy slash what's the word that they use up here? I can't find it. Dignity, privacy slash dignity here, and then debriefing. So this is a pretty short one. So ethics for humans. We have ethical guidelines, which are necessary to reduce harm to participants, while still allowing the pursuit of psychological research to benefit wider society. Starting with valid consent, one of our guidelines here, valid consent slash fully informed consent. You might hear either of these two. So, what this entails is that all participants know exactly what's going to happen before agreeing to participate. Pretty simple. They get a detailed, age-appropriate information. It could be through a form, through an online form, a paper form. Either way, usually they have to sign it. Until you get their consent. The researcher then has to have, they have to prove they have evidence of this when they publish the study. And for more vulnerable participants, like children or mentally handicapped people, the parents or guardians must also give consent. Then we have the right to withdraw. Participants must be aware that they can withdraw at any time and that their data will be destroyed when they withdraw, or they need to know the point at which data withdrawal is no longer possible. Like, for example, if it involves an online questionnaire, and then you would inform them that once you send your data in, it's no longer possible to withdraw that data. You need to withdraw before confirm that you've finished the questionnaire, something like that. They also, there needs to be no pressure on participants to continue. And for more vulnerable participants, the researchers need to carefully observe for signs of the participants no longer wanting to participate. And also any signs of distress from patients, or not signs of distress, but any clear distress. We'll change that. Oh my god, I suck. What is happening? Clear distress from patients should result in the immediate ending of a trial or study or whatever, right? Then, minimizing harm slash maximizing benefit. This one's pretty simple, just minimizing harm. You want to minimize harm physically, psychologically. In terms of confidentiality and anonymity, you want to minimize harm. In terms of privacy and, oh my god, I forgot what it said again. Dignity, privacy and dignity, you want to minimize harm there. And in terms of personal values. Then, lack of deception. Usually, this is established via fully informed consent, right? The participants are not deceived about any aspect of the study. However, a lack of deception can make avoiding demand characteristics more difficult if people know the true aim of the study. It can add quite a lot of demand characteristics or desirability bias, things like that. Although not really, actually, desirability bias is different, but yeah, demand characteristics. And so because of this, all other possibilities should be explored first before deception is finally used. Deception puts participants at a greater risk of psychological harm or distress. And if If deception is used, then a full debrief should follow. We'll get to debriefs at the end here. Next is confidentiality slash anonymity. Participants' results should remain confidential before and after publication. Individuals' data shouldn't be identifiable, and particularly important if qualitative data is used, right? Because if you guys remember, quantitative data is numbers and stuff like that, statistics, things like that. On the other hand, qualitative data is more detailed kind of explanations of why and how things happen. For example, qualitative data might be somebody explaining why they did something, and the quantitative data might just be a number that shows how many times they did that thing, sort of thing, right? And so qualitative data would usually result in more embarrassment or things like that if somebody got their hands on it. And so that's why it's particularly important. Also, any data stored during the experiment should be kept anonymously. There should be no names stored with the data, and instead ID codes should be used. And those can be used to match participant data to the same participant if there's follow-ups. And data should be stored in password-locked files, etc. A locked locker, a locked, cabinet, whatever. Then finally, and ultimately, privacy. In a covert, naturalistic setting, the participants should only be observed in public situations where they are already expected to be observed by others. And if not, then you need consent, right? Like if you're recording somebody in their own house, you need consent from them. You can't just record somebody in their own house without them knowing. And consent is also needed from the owner of the public space. Debriefing. If you don't know what debriefing is, it's basically after the study takes place, then you have a debriefing session with the participant or participants, between the researcher and the participant, where you explain any sort of deception, answer any of the participants' questions, and try to ensure that the participant has left the study in the same psychological and physical state that they entered in, and make sure that any sort of negative emotions or distress that they are feeling are nullified before they leave, right? So there you go. That is ethics for humans. Pretty speedy one. Was that under 10 minutes? It was 7 minutes. Wow, very fast. All right. Thanks for watching. Good luck on your exams.